My name's Joe Biden. Come on, man. My teleprompter's not working.
Cynation TV.
Oh yeah!
Hi, welcome back to another episode of The Evolution of Creation. I'm Josh Mack from the band Cynation, and we are going to continue talking about this orchestral piece that we're composing. Still has no title, we're just calling it a Cynation theme for now. But before we go any further, please hit that bell, subscribe, like, dislike, and do all that shit because it really helps us out and you don't want to miss any of these episodes. Now, train of thought I've lost.
Off to a good start now.
I'm wearing the black Cynation tee today. I was not trying to show you my nipple.
Yucks. Nobody wants to see that.
That's it. And we've got a red light theme. Roxanne!
No dirty business happening in this red light room.
Put on the red light.
That's cultural appropriation, Sting.
Let's just start screen recording because I always forget to do that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
And it's done. So let's just pick up where we were the last time. We just exited this section. I felt something was missing from this section. Like, even though we've got, the cello and the basses playing, it still missed, some kind of low end. So what we've done is we've put out this thing called the hollow pumper. It sounds like this. You don't actually even hear it that obviously in the entire mix. It's kind of like you feel it. I don't know whether it's going to come through on the video, but when you sit in front of these speakers, Aaron here will vouch that you can feel it, can't you?
Yeah, pump up the bass, mate.
So let's have a listen with just the hollow pumper. I actually want to go back to something I said last episode, which kind of, every episode I'm going to say shit that contradicts something I said in the last episode, but you know what? That's music and that's life, alright? It's just contradictions and how you balance those contradictions, and if you can't deal with that, just give up. I said that you should, understand each instrument and stick to what's a comfortable range of notes that you play on them. However, I haven't been doing that because, for example, if you play the cello, right, you would usually play around here. Oh, sorry, here. And that sounds like cello, right? But if you play up here, you could have done that with your viola, but the higher up you move on the cello, even though it's the same notes that you play on the viola, because it's so high up, there's less string length being vibrated, it creates this sort of tension. So what I said last week was, also correct, but having that tension sometimes can be good if it's intentional. Okay, moving on. So since last week, I have purchased, as you can see on screen, the Cinematic Drums package. Here you go. Here's what it looks like. It's gorgeous. It's only $29 and it's amazing. It sounds something like this. Real cinematic, epic sounding. You can control a lot more than the free stuff. You've got your room mic, your closed mic. You can choose how much distortion goes in, and of course reverb, but it also has a high pass and low pass filter. So let's listen to this first one I've added here. I don't even know how much of this is going to come through the...
Very ominous.
Yeah. And then we've got another one here. So I've basically EQ'd them slightly differently, and one has more high pass and one has more low pass, and they're kind of panned to the right and left. So you got to hear them together. Yeah, you get that real epic, ominous, as Aaron said.
Yeah, impending invasion.
However, the problem I found with just them alone is that nothing cut through. So I used the BBC timpani. And all three together. And you get epic and it cuts through. Something about these drums as well, like in order to get a real realistic sounding thing, I try not to go to the grid too much. As you can see here, they're not perfect. They're slightly early, and there's no quantize on this. I just played this one straight. The second one is pretty much a copy of that because I want it to be pretty close. And the timpani, again, I played and kept, because the timpani is the one that cuts through, I kept it closer to the grid, so I did quantize it a little bit.
Can you explain a little bit, sir, about this whole rationale behind the semi-perfect but not quite perfect approach to these drums?
Alright, well, the problem with MIDI is that everything can be perfect, right? Like the timings are perfectly spot on every beat, but nobody plays that perfectly, no matter who you are, and especially not when there's more than one person, like in an orchestra. And even though these are amazing samples, it's unrealistic to expect every single person to hit it right on the beat, and you get this really... It actually sounds fake because it's too perfect. It's that little bit of human error that makes it nice. So the difficult thing here is that you're trying to use something perfect and add just enough error so that it becomes believable, if that makes sense. And there's a balance of it. We'll talk about that when we come to the next section where the snare is. So that's what I've added next with the snare. The snares come in the next bar. I'll just finish talking about the snare, then we'll go on to talk about the violins. So I've also got some automation going on. So the snares, I don't know why I'm pointing, you can't see. They slowly get louder and they build up. So I've played it in rather than just, dragging notes around right onto the grid. And there is a little bit of quantizing because I'm not, playing it perfectly enough. It's a little bit difficult to, with your fingers to... It's alright for a short passage, but for the whole thing, it's a bit hard. So I do quantize it a little, but I've only quantized it up to 60%. So I've got another track of snares, which is quantized up to 90%. And as you can hear, it has a slightly different EQ and mic settings to it. This one is also part of the BBC Symphony Orchestra, which is also a free download. And of course, you've got to have some cymbals come in. Oops, you're not meant to hear that yet.
Oh, spoiler.
But the cymbals are the only thing that's not double tracked. The bass drums and the snares are double tracked. I find cymbals cut through so much, there's really no need for that. So moving on to the violins. So we've got violin 1, where we're basically playing, I may be wrong, but I believe it's called a pedal tone.
Should Google search that one first.
Why can't I hear it? Here we go. Right, so it's playing this pedal tone, and they are using what we call, well, not what we call, spiccato, which is the short notes. Right?
It was a quick refresher of what the other types are. You have spiccato and
Pizzicato, tremolo, and long. I mean, if you
long, lungo.
lungo, go to a cafe in Italy and order lungo nero.
Nero lungo, yes. That's the way to do it.
So violins 1 are playing this. Violins 2 are playing the same thing but with lungo, or long. The violas, I can't remember. Let's have a look. Okay, so they are basically doubling violins 1, just on a different frequency. While all this is happening, you still have your tubular bells, your hollow pumper.
Hello, oh my.
We've got the bass still running. The jelly. So I learned this term from Rick Beato. I watch his channel too. It's what you call divisi, where you take your orchestra and even in a single section, you split up what they're doing. So you have half of them doing violas like this, you know, playing the pedal tones, and then the other one's doing this. Yep, and you get all these massive layers. Snare, cymbals. Oh, that's pretty much it.
I saw some French horns creeping down there. Is that in this episode or the next?
French horns aren't in this episode, but
Hey, don't give it away now.
and there's gonna be violins too, which if you wanna have a sneak preview. And that is basically the climax of our piece. That's the main theme, which is basically a section of our song Everybody Anybody. Simon wrote this really cool line on the guitar, which I feel sounds like a real, like, old school Western to me, you know?
And I've adopted that theme as my own.
Yeah, we don't speak about that.
I've got a layman question.
Yes, sir.
Since this time you added in the percussions,
Yep.
how would you approach them coming from like a rock background, innit? Because these are different drums from what you're usually familiar with, eh?
Yeah, I just looked at it as bass and snare, right? Like, it's not, I'm kind of accenting certain parts of the song, so your drums, as you can hear, are just going. I did approach it the same way I think of drums, you know, when doing like a rock song. However, you got to realize these orchestral drums have a really long decay. Even if you turn your reverb all the way down, and you can control that here. You know, your reverb, ambience, tightness. However, like they're huge, right? Some of these drums are like the size of a fucking room, especially like taiko drums, and you go, whoa, and they've got that huge space. So you couldn't do something like, you know, double pedals on them. You wouldn't get orchestral drums and go like, it just sounds like fucking like thunder or something.
It's just not bad. It's pretty interesting, you know?
Well, I guess you can use it as a build-up sort of effect, but it's more like, and they sound really soft, but it's just because they're so low in the sound spectrum, whereas the timpanis are real in your face, right? But I find the cinematic drum package that Spitfire has, the one that I'm pulling up on screen here, it's not very practical in some settings, but in a cinematic setting, you know, it's got that great fucking Dark Knight, Inception.
A lot of weight, a lot of dramatic.
Yeah. And like, check out that fucking... You know, it's got that
Chinese
space.
wartime, you know?
Yeah, it's really got that dramatic sort of thing that you want. Epic's the word, I think.
Epic. Epic as fuck.
Which we are going to build up into using these. Even, you know... which is such a different feel from, you know, the snares that we heard earlier on, right? That... Oops.
That ain't no snare. What's going on there?
Oh, you gotta hear this.
Off Jaws! That's the opening.
We gotta have a gong at some point in this. I think one of my biggest challenges with this is that, like, because Aaron told me, like, you better keep this to fucking 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And it's really easy to run overtime.
Of course. You get carried away. There's so many components you want to add in.
So many things. And like, I want a gong, you know. I'm going to make it my mission that there's going to be a gong in this song. Probably the end.
I don't know, man. Like, you're really going to submit yourself as a Chinese band this way.
Well, what a band. At least we're not going...
You'll feature the triangle.
Fuck the triangle. The triangle is the most useless fucking instrument, alright?
What's your opinion? Does a triangle literally serve no purpose in an orchestra?
It's so infrequent. It's so infrequent. I don't know. If you don't agree, you can leave a comment and I'll promptly ignore it. But any triangle players have anything to say?
Well, I'd like to hear what they have to say. They're just glad they got a job, you know?
They're just glad that they get to chime in once in a while with it. Oh, that's not triangle.
They're not triangle.
There we go. I can't memorize the fucking thing. Like, it doesn't tell you what is what.
Put stickers, bro.
Stickers. Nah. So yeah, with the... I'm not sure I mentioned this, but the snare, same thing. We played it... Oh, I did talk about it. Yeah, I'm repeating myself. Shut up, Josh.
Yeah, shut up.
On to questions.
Well, I kind of shoehorned my question in before, so I think we're about ready to hear this new addition to, so, well, recap, we've got that underlying synthy bass.
Yep, the hollow pumper.
Hollow humper, yes. Which sounds really out of place on its own, but I think somehow works with the entirety of it.
Well, let's talk about the hollow pumper for a second, right? Because orchestral stuff is great, but the cool thing about this synth stuff, and this comes under Apple's EDM bass, right? It just fills up that sound frequency in a way that nothing in the orchestra, I feel, can do. And like I said, once you hear the whole mix, you're not even gonna notice this hollow pumper. But like a lot of bass stuff, once you take it out, you feel it's missing. Yeah. So I think that's it. Shall we have a listen from the beginning?
Yeah, let's.
Here we go.
Previously on the Evolution of Creation. That's next week. Oh my.
Alright, so until the next episode, hopefully if I can get Simon to do an episode, you won't have to see me next round. But if not, we'll do a filler episode where we'll get Aaron to interview me about some guitar playing, just because the last bit still it's gonna need a lot of work. I want to bring everybody in. It's a real inclusive sort of finale.
Oh yes.
Woodwinds, horns, LGBTQ.
Yeah, they're gonna come on and play the horns.
Yes, damn right. Woodwind lives matter too, you know. But anyway, if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, and you want to help us, well, keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you can't stop us.
I mean, I get JobKeeper, you know.
I'd like to see you try and stop us.
JobKeeper doesn't help that much.
Sorry, it's not
We need like the dream maker payment, you know.
Yeah, you know.
And only you guys can do that by downloading our music.
Buying the music. Just
Buying the
download it.
music.
You could illegally download it. But...
I wish they could illegally download our music. Like, that means we're pretty big. But yeah, you know, get our music. Helps a little bit. More for the ego, less so for the wallet. But if you really want to help, get one of these. The Cynation muscle tees. You can message us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Don't spin for us, honey. Show us the back. I know it's the same as the last episode, but you know.
This is the black one today.
Mmm.
Yep. Every episode, new color. And any closing questions, sir?
Spring tea, motherfucker. Spring tea.
Spring, yeah.
No. Spring tea. The website.
Teespring.
Teespring.
You dumbass.
Teespring, motherfucker. Teespring.
Yeah, go on to Teespring. I think he'll put it over here somewhere. And you can get some of our other stuff. My name's Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
my teleprompter's not working. Alright, bye bye now.